for the opportunity of taking a few minutes, sharing with you some of my experiences in my lifetime. I don't have a lot to bring. I got too bad a job of hiding stuff around the house. But I do have one thing. I wanted to show you that you're not going to believe this, I know, but I did have hair once. You see, there it is. You know what's interesting? A little bit later, that it had some effect on my life, a little bit of my concern about being bald. My brother Lionel, well, first of all, I'd like to say that I recognize the hand of our Heavenly Father in blessing me so many times and opening many doors for me, even that I didn't know needed opening. They were open for me. And if I've had any success at all in this lifetime, it's because my Heavenly Father has helped me, and I want you to be aware of that. But I was born May 22nd, 1928, in a home on Tyler Street in Ogden, 2584 Tyler Avenue. Lionel Valentine Farr was my father. Eleanor Alice Miller was my mother. She had 3 children before me. They had a daughter, Eleanor. I don't know, maybe some of you attorneys knew Paul Badger. Many of you know Paul. He was working with the clerk's office there in the judge's clerk's office. He worked for Senator Thomas, was his executive secretary for many years. But then my brother Lionel is the next one, and Richard is the other one. When I was 2 years old, our family moved to Washington, D.C. My dad was the treasurer, secretary for Browning Arms in Ogden, and had got his degree through correspondence. He was being paid $9,500 a year at that time, which is a darn good salary. And I really have great respect for him. He was in his 40s when he decided to move to Washington, D.C., so he could go to school and further his education. He had hoped to go to law school. He gets back in Washington, D.C. and contracts pneumonia, is not able to ever do that, but he had a partnership back there with the Snyder Farr accounting firm. He's a CPA. He had an opportunity to, Bill Marriott, went back there and started with A&W Root Beer. He wanted my dad to be his chief accountant, and my dad did not want to work for anyone else, so he turned it down, but maybe he made a mistake, but probably didn't. Because if he had money, I don't know if we could have handled it, to be honest with you. But when I was 2 years old, we moved to Washington, D.C., and my mother, her father, had a farm in Farmington, 400-acre farm, so every summer I'd come out and work on the farm, which is a real blessing for me. And in the wintertime, I'd go to school back in Washington, D.C. When I was a very young boy, I had my first experience with a priesthood blessing. I had a very bad earache. It just was so painful. There's evidently an abscess in my ear. And my father gave me a blessing, and in the instant that I received that blessing, the pain ceased. And then for 4 days to a week, my ear drained. Every night I'd go to sleep and I'd wake up in the morning and I'd have drainage all over the pillowcase as my ear drained, and I've never had any more problem with that problem at all. Then my first experience with answer to prayer occurred in elementary school in Washington, D.C. They had boy patrols. I don't know if you had those in Salt Lake at the time. We did not have any crossing guards. We had boys in the 5th and 6th grade at the different intersections. We had about 30 boys. There was a captain of the boy patrol, and there's 3 lieutenants, and the rest were patrols. We stopped traffic when we needed to. We got kids who were across the street safely. I made it in the 5th grade. I got in the boy patrols. I wanted as a little boy. My 2 brothers, older brothers, who were boy patrols. They come home with a very nice belt. They gave you a belt that you wore with a nice badge. And I always wanted to be a boy patrol. I made that in the 5th grade. And then I started praying that I might, when I was 6, in the 6th grade, become captain. I wanted to be captain of boy patrols, and I prayed every night and morning for that. When the time came to go find out, they did it by election usually. And we had a boy named Jimmy Gage that everybody liked. I was going to vote for him, and we were all going to go vote for him. He would have been in the prior semester, but the class bully warned him if he ran, he got beat up, so he didn't run. But we went to the meeting, and teacher that was in charge said, the faculty has had a meeting and we decided we're going to, instead of putting this up for election, we felt the faculty should choose the captain of patrols, and we've chosen Mel Farr to be the captain. I fell off the chair. It was a true surprise to me, but a real blessing where I learned that our Heavenly Father does listen to us and does answer prayers. In elementary school, I think I must have had ADD because I had a real struggle. I just cut up in class. You know what? I'd be a rich man today if in the 4th grade I could have had 1 penny for every note I took home to my own parents. My behavior. No bad experience. I had a rough time. I remember that I just couldn't be a good boy. And after 6th grade, I graduated from elementary school, was going to go to Powell Junior High School, and I was worried that summer. I thought, I want to be good, but I can't. I just can't be good. I had to show off to the kids and make fun, have them laugh, and so on. But I hit junior high school, and boy, it went fine because we were in a class for only 45 minutes. We changed every class and typing and many other things. I never had another problem with my behavior. I went to Central High School, which was the oldest high school in Washington, D.C. There were 8 high schools in the city. And there I learned the second time that our Heavenly Father hears prayers. And they had a high school cadet corps. Each high school, there's 8 of them, and I say, had a cadet corps of 4 companies, A, B, C, D. A was for the tall boys and so on down. They had a captain, and only 4 captains each year. And I had a brother, Richard, that was captain of Company A. When I was 12 years old, he was captain. I started praying night and day that I would become captain of Company A when I reached that age. I got to the age, and it's kind of interesting. They reach you a little bit on, you're supposed to be a pretty good student. You had to be outstanding in the drill, and so I did very well in the drill. It was outstanding. I was a pretty good student except for 1 class. I made a mistake in Spanish. I took Spanish, and lo and behold, I got end of the semester, I got an F. Oh my gosh, I couldn't afford an F to be captain, so I went and talked to Mrs. Russell. I said, Mrs. Russell, really, I need to have you give me at least a D out of this. She said, well, Mel, if you won't take any more Spanish, I'll give you a D. And guess what? I needed to take Spanish. So I went back at the beginning of the term and I said, Mrs. Russell, can I take Spanish again? I really ought to be in your class. She said, okay. So I took it, and guess what? Another F. I couldn't take it. I went and talked to her again. I said, please, I can't have an F on my record. Please give me a D. Well, if you don't take it anymore, I will. So she did. But I had to take it. So the next semester I went back again. Repeated that 3 times. So I ended up doing that. But when the time came, I became captain of Company A, which is a real blessing. What is interesting is that summer, just before the 12th grade, I received a call from the person who was in charge of the ROTC, and he wanted me to represent the school as a representative to try out for the brigade commander of the city of Washington, D.C. And I didn't want to do that, but I thought I better because I'd like to be captain of the Company A, so I did try out. I finished second, 1 vote difference, and found out that my instructor was a new instructor, and he, back then we didn't vote for ourselves usually, and he voted for someone else. Fortunately, it's a blessing in my life that I was able to be captain of Company A. I wanted to play sports. I love sports. My dad did not want me to play football, but I talked him into letting me play sophomore ball. I was tall, 6'4". I'm 6'1" now. I've shrunk, guys. But anyway, I played football as a sophomore until he took me up to the varsity, and I had to drop out because my dad didn't say I couldn't play. He advised against it. And I knew that if I played football, that first play I'd have a broken leg. People hurt knees when they played, so I didn't play. But I played baseball as a sophomore. I made the team and had an experience there. I didn't play any game the first year, but about halfway through the season, the first baseman got thrown out of the game on the first play of the game. And the coach says, hey, Farr, get in there. I said, me? No, coach. I didn't want to go in. So he said, okay, Bill, you go and send another person in. Now, many coaches would have fired their player off the team for that. My coach never said one word to me about that. That was forgotten. The next year, I made the team, played first base, and played the whole season as a starter, earned my letter. What is interesting, however, that's the award ceremony for that year, as they gave out the letters, the coach came up and said, I have one other special award here. We have just created for the very first time. It's called the Gold Bat Award. He worked in the wood shop. He cut out on the lathe a little wooden bat, painted it gold. Guess what? I'm going to give it to Mel Farr. You know what? In the inter-high competition, when we played the high school, I didn't get one hit in the whole season. That's against 7 players. And so he said, no, we've got a special award we're just giving for the first time. It's going to Mel Farr for being outstanding at the plate. Just outstanding. The girls didn't know the difference. They thought it was good. I didn't know why I got it, so I got more dates out of that. That worked out okay for me. But I did, as a senior, earn a Golden Glove, which was a good award. I didn't, as a first baseman, make one error in the whole season. You know, first base handles the ball quite a bit, but I didn't have one error my senior year. In my senior year, I also wanted to play basketball. What's interesting, the Washington Chapel was built, if you can believe this, in 1933. It was a branch of the Eastern States Mission, maybe 60 members in the branch. They built a chapel out of bird's eye marble with a temple spire and an angel Moroni on top of that spire. That was a branch. They had a tabernacle organist that was sent back there for 2 years to live in the chapel there. He had a room upstairs, and he lived there and gave organ recitals on Thursday nights and on Sunday nights. But that was the Washington branch where that occurred. But
Mel, was that on 16th Street?
in Columbia Road, exactly. 16th Columbia Road. The church sold that. They're sorry they did it. It went to the Moonies, and I've been told that they bought it back, but I've not been able to trace that up for sure. But that was the. Let's see, where am I real quick? Okay. I was going to say I played basketball, and one thing is I shaved my hair off. I wanted to save my hair. My brother Lionel in his 20s was going bald, and I didn't want to lose mine. I said, you know, you shave, it comes back. So I think I'll shave my hair off. So on a Sunday, I shaved every single bit of it off. That week we played our first game. We were about, I was sitting at the end of the bench. We got behind about 15 points. I hear this, Farr, me? Yeah, get in the game, Farr. So I got in and I played every minute of the game for the rest of the year, both in the inter-high competition and those outside. But we got within 1 point of winning the game and almost won after I got in the game, so I helped the team quite a bit. The Washington Star did an article on me, told about my shaved head and called me Cool Breeze Farr, which was people on the other schools call me Egghead. But in an article they said, judging by the way Farr performed, we will not be surprised if Central High School comes out with their head shaved. But guess what? School coach called a meeting. He said, Mel Farr had to get his hair cut off. He had ringworm or something. He said, but if anybody else gets a haircut, they're off the team. People pay 25 cents to see a basketball game, not a freak show. That made me feel real good, guys. But anyway, I then went to the University of Maryland, College Park, and played basketball in the JV team before my mission there. Summer after my freshman year, I was a camp counselor. The kids really loved this. John will remember this. Camp Wanaki on Lake Winnipesaukee. What's interesting, I shaved my hair up there also. And it's just kind of interesting. The next day after I shaved it, I had 6 boys I was responsible for, 6-year-old boys. And they slept on one side, and the other side, another counselor, another 4 boys. But anyway, next morning I shaved, so I said, I was scalped by the Indians. You know, they could feel like prickly hair. And I said, yeah, good gosh. Well, this was a Sunday, and one of the kids in my group got a call from his family, so he went to answer the phone, and he was talking to his parents. He said, oh, And yesterday, Mel got scalped by the Indians. It was terrible. There was blood all over the place. He expanded it a little bit. But anyway, that was a funny experience there. Then I was in my sophomore year. I was seriously dating a girl, and we set a date that we wanted to get married on. Said we'll get married next September. This was on a Sunday. We made that comment. I got a call from my bishop. He said, Brother Farr, we want to call you on a mission. I said to myself, of course I'll go on a mission. And I said, I'll talk to my father to see about it. We'd like to consider going. I accepted that call for one reason. And I learned something at that time. Guess what? You can't pay Heavenly Father back. I tried to pay him back. That's the only reason I went, is I felt I was indebted to him, and I wanted to pay him back. And so I went to do that. And you know, King Benjamin gives a talk where he points out you cannot do it. And that's one of the reasons I know that book is true. Because I tried to pay him back. I couldn't do it. Because the Heavenly Father, I came back from that mission just so much more blessed than I ever was as I left. That has been my experience in my life as I work in the church, as I accept calls and help the Lord. I get so much benefit out of it. It's just so great. But I told the girl that I was going to go on a mission. She said, wonderful. She doesn't remember the church, but her family had moved to Columbus. She was home for Christmas. She had come down at Christmas time. She said, Mel, I'll wait for you forever. I love you so much. Guess what? I got in the mission field, and just very quickly, I was interviewed by Brother Stapley. And he said, Brother Farr, where do you want to go on your mission? I wanted to go to Uruguay. I had a friend of mine, Frank Richards, that was a missionary down there. And I was in a play with his sister and read a letter about him going to Uruguay where he just opened a mission up. I thought it'd be fun to go to a mission that never had missionaries before. I wanted to go to Uruguay.
What about the Spanish, though?
My patriarchal blessing had promised me, interesting enough, just as a side issue, you asked that question, that I would be very alert and have rapid attention learning the language. I learned the language very quickly. I had many people tell me that I didn't have any accent at all. They thought I was from Uruguay as I spoke Spanish. So the Heavenly Father came to me and helped me.
After flunking it 3 times, you finally came through.
And I got back to the University of Maryland. I took Spanish 1, 2, 3, and 4 as A's. And I took an exam of 20 credits, got A credit for the Spanish. So I graduated from the University of Maryland with 180 hour credits in 4 years. But anyway, I went to, he said, where do you want to go, Brother Farr? I said, any place the Lord calls me. I know that'd be fine, but where do you want to go? I said, really, any place the Lord wants to call me. He said, Brother Farr, you'd make my job a lot easier if you'll tell me where you want to go. I said, to South America. I would not say Uruguay. Boy, I got that call, came to Uruguay. I just hit the ceiling, and I was so grateful for that opportunity. So I worked on that mission there. And what's another blessing? This is a case where a door was opened for me that I didn't know needed opening. I was asked to remain on my mission for 3 months longer. So I stayed until March. I stayed over. That's the time the Korean War was breaking out. That was 1951. And I got home, and as soon as I got home, I found out that within 7 days I had to report to the draft board and get my papers filled out to the draft board. And fortunately, I learned that same week. Just fortunately, by chance, I got home in the week that they were signing up for advanced ROTC. Before my mission, I accepted ROTC advanced, applied for it, passed all the tests, was accepted. And then I got my mission call, and I wrote a letter to them. Told them that I was on a mission for my church, that I'd been accepted for advanced, and I wanted to be in advanced. When I returned, I'd come back and get it, advanced acceptance into advanced. Best letter I ever wrote. But I get back and find out that that very week they're interviewing for advanced ROTC the next year. So Monday, I went to the draft board. They looked at me, looked at the papers, filled it out, and said, Mr. Farr, we'll see you next Monday. You're going to be drafted right